Right. Hello, I'm Elliot and he's John.
Hi, I'm John and he's Elliot.
That's right.
And today we're joined by our close friend Shauna Strathmann. It feels like we've known Shauna forever. We met her through our youth group in Holy Trinity when we were about 12, but she's not always been a church goer.
No, that's right. So in this episode, Shauna tells us the amazing story of how she came to know God. And we discuss lots of other things we have in common, including our love for music.
You're listening to The Still More Show.
Welcome to The Still More Show. Magical. You've got to leave that in.
That's horrible.
Oh man, I think that's actually how we begin the episode. We've never got in that quickly. Do you remember when we tried to record this before and it took me ages to get the beginning?
Yes.
Oh man. So for context on the recording, wait, first of all let's introduce our guest. We're here with Shauna Strathmann.
Yes.
I got that first time. Last week I didn't know our guest's surname, you know.
Again, we're here again, but not again. But again.
So we recorded an episode with Shauna like quite a few weeks ago. It was supposed to go out a few weeks ago, and then when we went to edit the file afterwards, it was corrupt and didn't, not corrupt like Sepp Blatter, FIFA corrupt. It was corrupted. So we were unable to put it out. But here we are again with Shauna. Hello.
Try to rehash everything that we did already, but didn't do.
We'll make it. I was going to say make it bigger and better, but I mean it was great first time around. This happens all the time. Oh yeah, no, I was going to introduce the fact that this time as well we are sat face to face. Johnny Boy's pad. That's enough of an introduction, I think. Let's get into some meat. You're a pescatarian, aren't you?
Yeah.
So let's not get into meat.
Well, fish meat is still meat, right?
Fish meat. This is a good discussion.
Oh dear.
So you're a pescatarian, which I
Yes.
completely respect. I'm not about to like take a shot at you or anything.
Sounds like it.
When I say that, I think it does, but no, I'm actually not.
So you're a pescatarian. What are you doing with your life?
Explain, please.
No, but for real, like, what for you is it about fish that is okay?
I mean, most people just say, "Oh, so you're like fussy," and I go, "Yeah, that's basically it." But I watched a BuzzFeed video. It's always BuzzFeed. A couple years ago. Actually, it wasn't a couple years ago. I was 14, so it was 5 years ago. And it was about how chickens were farmed. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you know, they showed you, and I was like, "Ooh, ruined the taste of meat for me."
I know what you mean.
But fish, I mean, I know my parents do their best to make sure that they only buy fish that's like sustainably acquired or anything. So I don't know. I think because the taste of meat's just been permanently ruined for me, there's like nothing that can really get that back for me anymore. So just, you know, bacon and chicken or whatever, it's just kind of tainted now. Whereas like fish, I'd never really associated it with that. That's really all there is to it.
It's sort of what you see is what you get with fish. Like you can literally buy a whole fish and like, okay, it's a fish.
Yes.
Well, this is the thing though. So I don't like fish. I'm not a vegetarian or pescatarian.
He's a carnivore.
I'm a carnivorous beast. I'm like a T-Rex. But I don't like fish. I like some fish. My mum cooks some really nice fish. But I don't like fish generally. And when people say why, I always say because it just tastes of the sea. And people don't understand what I mean by that. And I don't think either of you do, looking at you.
Yeah, but like I don't mind the taste of the sea.
But you can distinguish between like a salmon or like another type of fish, and you can't say that they both taste like the sea because they taste different.
Salmon and mackerel are.
I'm not sure I can.
Way
really different.
Yeah.
But they both have that kind of like taste. It's almost like gargling seawater or chowing down on seaweed or something like that. I just wouldn't do it.
I mean, I really like sushi, so I mean, I'm on board.
Sushi's okay, but I don't eat sushi with fish in it. Tuna, no. So there's a few fish that are on my absolute no-no list, right? Like this is my list of like few foods that are just no-no. Like it's very self-explanatory, the no-no list. Tuna, prawns, salmon.
Unbelievable.
What about like smoked salmon, like a bagel?
No, not going.
Those are literally my 3 favourite types of fish.
John, it looks like you got yourself a new co-host on this.
Tuna,
I'm out. I'm going. Oh man, you did mention bagels there, which makes me want to ask the all-important question. So, should we do it in sync like we did last time?
Oh no, that was horrible. Do you listen back? We sounded like the twins out of what's
The Shining.
The Shining. Like in unison.
No.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, should we take it in terms of doing a word? So it's what in your favourite... Okay, right. Right. What is your favourite toasty or sandwich? Question mark. You're supposed to say question
You
mark.
have to say
You're
the
supposed to say-
question mark.
Come on, you might not know if it's a question or a statement.
I'm going to tell you the inflection in the last word.
Anyway, answer the question.
I made a big fuss like last time we recorded about, actually I only eat bagels, I don't eat sandwiches, but like
Oh, really?
not really been eating
I don't remember that now.
bagel.
Sorry, it's not I don't remember the conversation, I just don't remember that.
I've not been eating lunch really, which is bad. You should definitely eat lunch. It's not as important as breakfast, but you know.
No, breakfast is definitely...
Lunch is kind of really.
Lunch is the one. I was talking to somebody the other day, actually, a friend of mine who is kind of well into fitness, like building his body like madness, and he is on a diet where he'll eat like a tiny bit when he gets up in the morning, then he won't eat at all until like late in the evening. And if you can get if you don't know what you're doing and you're not going by like an expert's advice, it's probably not very good for you. But if you know what you're doing, that's actually the healthiest way to eat, apparently.
Oh, that's
Interesting.
No, that's not what you do though. What you do is sporadic eating whenever you get the time.
No, it's when I get hungry, which is arguably a better way of eating.
Yeah, if you eat when you're hungry. The problem is when you eat when you're bored, which
I do that as well. Yeah,
If that, yeah.
I turn bored into hungry sometimes deliberately.
I need something to do. Let's just raid the cupboard.
No, if I ate while I was bored, I'd be chowing down right now. I'll tell you that.
Anyway.
Jokes. So, what would you have in your dream bagel?
It would probably be avocado. Or
Just avocado.
yeah, or like fruit with like honey on top of it or something.
Is avocado fruit?
It's got a stone in it, so yeah.
Oh yeah, that's what they say, isn't it? Anything that's got a stone in it must be fruit.
You sound so angry.
As in like stoned fruit, yes, like peaches, etc.
Yeah,
You're so angered by this like rigid classification.
It wasn't like I was.
Oh well, of course.
No,
It's got
If
stone
you
in
throw
it.
a stone into a car, you can't call it a fruit. That's not what I'm saying.
It could be a lemon. Hey, that's the type of car. Do you know that?
Kind of. It's like a name for old rundown cars, isn't it?
Exactly. A bit like a banger, which is a type of potato, which is a vegetable.
No, it's not. It's
Bangers
a
and mash.
sausage.
Oh wait, yeah. Oh no, that's the wrong way round.
Screams bangers and
That's
mash.
the wrong way round.
Oh wait.
Okay, I take it back. I take it back.
I have
Anyway,
no take backs.
no take backs. Fingers crossed. I think I'm done with food. I think you've made me. I can taste fish in my mouth right now, just because you've said fish and bagels and things. But
Okay.
That's a really weird talent, that. If I say lemon, lemon, if I say it over and over again.
yeah, my mouth starts like. What's the word? Like when you eat something sour, your mouth kind of goes.
Puckers.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. Let's get into something. I think we want to explore. Our guest, not in a physical, anatomical way. Anatomical. What's the word?
No one thought it but you.
All right.
Nobody else.
Right. Let me start the sentence again. We want to divulge our guest. Does that work?
I think you're missing like a preposition or
We
something.
want to. we want to delve into our guest. And we want.
Shut up.
Oh,
Stop using fancy words.
So,
We want to learn a bit more about Shauna.
wow, you make it seem so easy.
It's because I'm not an English student.
It's really a negative, isn't it? It's really a what's the opposite of a benefit? I don't know. So basically, Shauna, you're one of our good friends. We've known you for a long time. Where did we meet? Can you remember?
I can't remember last week, so
You actually can't remember where we met.
No, probably. I don't know.
What do you want? The location, the time?
Yeah, I can remember where we met.
Can you?
Yeah. It was at our youth group on a Friday.
Oh well, yeah. Oh yeah. I was going to say that.
Well, you're just overlooking that. You thought
That was gonna. Yeah, that would make sense.
You thought like, oh, it must have been something like noteworthy or...
Yeah. It was like at a wedding or something. No, it was at our youth group. What? Is a wedding not noteworthy?
I mean, it is,
like I'm pretty sure people remember
too
weddings.
noteworthy.
Oh, right, okay, so like I don't know, in the queue for a bank or something. Have I gone to the other extreme? Is that not noteworthy? Alright, so Shauna, we met at our Friday night youth group when we were about 13, 14-ish.
I was in year 6 though when we joined Connected, so I think it must have been 12. Well, were you there or not?
No, I didn't join till a later year. But anyway, we met at some point. And we, at the time, you were coming along. It was obviously a Christian youth group. But you weren't a Christian, were you?
Nope.
But you now are.
Yes.
Wow, how did that happen? Right, so what?
Well,
this is what we want to get into, really. We want to ask you how. How you came to faith, why you came to faith, and sum it up in this story, which we call a testimony, which in Christian terms means the story of how you came to know God. So, how testimony, Shauna? Question mark.
well, to start with, when? I was past tense, I still am. Oh dear.
So, yes.
So my best friend, Emily Greaves, here she gets a full shout out. She can take like pretty much all of the credit for this. I'm not gonna lie. We went to primary school together, and I mean, I wasn't a Christian. I didn't grow up a Christian. My parents were both Christians at one point. But they'd kind of moved away from faith, and they weren't particularly interested in saying, oh, you know, you should discover your faith or something, because I think I was like 7, 8 at the time. And the most important thing for me back then was like, I don't know, if I brought my PE kit to school or something.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
And not, is there a God?
Yeah.
So I went along with her to one of the youth groups in the church that was pretty much next door to the school, and we went, I think it was every Monday evening or something, and it's quite interesting really, because looking back on it, like I just kind of went along with everything. Like we did all of these Bible readings and stuff, you know, kind of made for kids and stuff, and you know, we had a couple of youth leaders there that would, you know, do silly voices and act out stuff, and we would learn to sign stuff while we were singing or whatever. So now I know the sign language for praise, which is quite fun.
Nice.
I did it now, you can't
Doesn't
see.
translate well over
yeah,
an audio
I don't think
moving my thumbs up.
I don't think quite all of the children's actions are probably 100% accurate with sign language, but I'm sure there's a fair few, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure I learned something of use.
Yeah.
But that one, I, for some reason or another, stopped running. So we transferred to one a little bit further away. And I think by the time I was in secondary school, I'd then joined another youth group that was on Friday nights. The aforementioned one.
That was ours.
Yeah.
Not ours, like we didn't run it. We weren't big names back then.
Age 13 running a youth group.
Big names now. Yeah.
Wow.
But that's when you joined the youth group that was at the same church we were at.
Yeah. I was 12, I think, possibly 11. We were in year 6 then, so we were actually allowed to join then for some reason or another. And then the year we moved up, it got pushed up to year 7. So we've got an extra year in.
Yeah.
And it was quite fun, because my 11, 12-year-old brain was kind of like, oh, this is like a fun thing to go to on a Friday night with a friend. You know, they were playing like videos up on the big like projector screen thing. There were games of football going on. There was a table tennis table, which was, you know, the height of like.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It was just in the centre of the room.
Literally,
as well.
you were like.
You'd wait ages to get on it as well.
Yeah, and there's a craft table. There's always a craft table.
Always a craft
table.
table.
The craft table.
Yeah.
I'm having flashbacks.
Yeah.
See, when you said Xbox, I freaked out because I like now they don't do that in these groups. Xbox isn't a thing.
They had a console
back
there.
then,
Yeah.
And you could just go and play it. Like
just I just remember hurtling into like chairs and things playing football.
Yeah, really physical, throwing our bodies around it, and
a lot of carpet burns.
Oh, a lot of carpet burns.
Yeah.
The carpet was horrible.
I can feel it. I can almost yeah.
They'd last for weeks and weeks. So the next week you go and show your mates like, hey, this is what I did last week, and it's just like
I should have seen the other guy.
Can you see? You can't really see it in the slide. Can you see a dark patch there?
Yeah.
That's a carpet burn from connecting. Can you see that?
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it actually is. I only noticed it recently. So obviously, I mean, audio only podcast again. You can't actually see it right now.
He's pointing to
imagine a slightly browner circle on someone's skin.
Slightly browner than what?
Than skin.
Oh,
than
right.
the current shade of your skin.
Oh right, okay.
It's not hard to imagine a slightly browner.
meant. I just had no idea what you meant. Yeah, I've just got this horrible little it looks like a burn that you'd get from like a flame. Like it's nasty.
Carpet was lethal.
Yeah,
seriously.
it really was.
Yeah, that was a bad bit about it, the carpet.
But in a way, it was fun.
It was, yeah.
The adrenaline of like,
at least
don't burn yourself.
Literally, like, it was like, I've got a carpet burn that's going to last me 10 years, but at least I've got some stories.
Yeah.
To be honest, this is the first time that story's ever come handy, but
And you could have made it. You could have told us any story. You could have told that time you nearly got shot trying to save a bank or something, but no, you went for.
I remember that one.
Oh yeah, that story that also happened. Very much so. Yes. Sorry.
The same night you went and got that kind of.
Oh man, right.
So the age of 12, hail the hero.
Yeah.
Onward with your story, Shauna.
Where was I? Oh yeah, craft table. That was. I distinctly remember the craft table being pretty good. Man, you make all sorts there. It was always chaos.
You make anything that you dreamt of, you can make.
Beautiful chaos, honestly. Just
this youth group was so much fun. Like we've said, like it actually was. Like, even looking back now, I would probably still enjoy it now.
Oh, seriously,
Yeah.
I really.
Getting around with your mates, just hanging out
great.
in a church building, and I think there can be. I know some people who have gone to like church youth groups and things, and sometimes if at certain churches they're like a really stale, really badly run kind of thing, but can really taint the someone's impression of the entire church. If it's run by that very stereotypical youth leader who's like trying to be really cool.
Socks and sandals, reversible fleece.
That's it. It's literally it's a meme, isn't it? It's like you already know what I mean, and we didn't have that.
We never
had genuine, really nice.
I don't remember
really
anyone
wise
wearing
youth
socks with sandals.
That is the literal telltale sign of a bad youth leader. But no, it was actually good.
It was so in the tuck shop as well. I mean, in
tuck.
hindsight, that much sugar maybe wasn't.
Well, yeah.
But
But
We've been through this before as well. The toasties.
the toasties,
50p or whatever it was.
50p for like
Unbelievable.
toasties, and you could get like cheese and
Hot
hot dog
dogs.
sausage.
hot dog, sliced hot dogs.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
They were good, and you've heard this story loads of times. But when we were in a slightly older youth group a couple of years later, I didn't realise for some reason that you had to pay for the stuff in the tuck shop. So I just took it because there was very often nobody manning it. There was no one stood by the tuck shop. Because we were a bit older, they just trusted us to go and put the money in and take what we wanted. And so I worked it out. I must have taken like a good maybe 20 quid's worth of stuff. And considering each item was sold for like 50p or £1, that's lots of items.
I am sitting opposite a criminal.
It blew my mind the first, like when you told me the story, you're like, oh, Cam's just told me that you have to pay for the tuck shop.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah? Have you not been paying this whole time?
What did you think the money box was
Funny
for?
thing, it wasn't even that the youth leader told me. It was that I said to the youth leader, I was like, oh yeah, so I've been, the tuck's great. I love how we don't have to pay for it. And he's like, what? Like, this is our youth leader who runs the group.
Goodness.
And he's in charge of all this finance and stuff. He sees that there's like stuff going and they're not making a profit on it. And he's like, oh man, it all makes sense now.
I've got to wonder, like, if there was anyone, because obviously you weren't being like, I don't know, you weren't like doing it carefully or anything like that. You're probably doing it in full view because you thought it was free.
Yeah, I thought it was
I'm wondering
normal.
how many people were just watching you take stuff from the tuck shop and being like, is anyone gonna...
To be fair, like, I used to pay and I used to like camping and get a drink and I just put my money down on the counter or something.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like anyone watched it at all.
No,
that's true.
nobody monitored it properly. But to get back on track, so the church from a young, they look out for kids from a young age and they really nurture and look after you, and there's no sort of like pushing you towards the kind of the Bible side of it or anything at that point. They didn't even do kind of Christian teaching and stuff like that. It was that kind of eased in later on.
Really, really eased in.
Yeah.
Like, you don't even notice it. All of a sudden you're learning all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And you go home. I went home one evening, probably like age 14, 15 or something, not even realising how much I'd learned. And then I think my dad had asked me, like, oh, how did you find the youth group tonight or something? And I was like, oh yeah, we learnt so much cool stuff about like this particular Bible story or something. Yeah. And then in my head I was like, wait, do we always do that? Did that always happen? And I just suddenly, going to school and studying RS for GCSE and stuff like that, like I would suddenly have a lot more to say.
Yeah.
I felt like I had a lot more, input and whatever. And they really like carefully ease you into it, and it doesn't feel forced or anything like that.
No, and it doesn't feel pushy. It doesn't, because there's plenty of people in the youth group who aren't Christians, and it doesn't feel like if you're not a Christian you can't be here.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't feel like exclusionary or anything at all.
And on RS actually, our RS teacher was a Christian, and it was whenever she taught on like Christianity, it was really like pushy with Christianity.
Yeah.
And like any other like religion, it was sort of like she'd teach us the basic stuff, but always just sort of be like
everything was more in depth with Christianity, but with anything else, it was kind of like a little tagline at the end of something. So
and that's where ironically, well, not even ironically really, but genuinely the church gets it right far more often than like teachers who are out in the secular world trying to kind of push it or whatever. The church actually doesn't, or in our experience, the church we were at, they didn't do that at all. And there are plenty of churches that don't do that. They don't push you and try and kind of make you feel like, just try and almost it's a powerful word, but like indoctrinate. You know what I mean? So when the Christian teaching starts to ease in, how long before you started thinking, actually, this is for me, I believe this, I can see this is real? Fairly
quickly, I would say. I'd already gone to Spring Harvest when I was 13, which, if you don't know what it is, it's like a fun little kind of, I can't even remember if it was a weekend or if it was like, I think it was during the Easter holidays actually. You go to somewhere like Butlins, like in Skegness or something, which is where we went, and there's like this massive Christian event. You've got like a big tent and all of these cool like little stalls and events that are going around, and you get to go to little talks and stuff. And that stayed with me for a long time. But when you kind of go home and it sort of gradually fades out and everything. Whereas with the youth group, I think because it was every Friday, it was a continuous kind of thing of like every Friday I'd come home and think about what I'd learnt and stuff, and then it kind of gradually built up. And by the time I was maybe 15, I think I was 15. I really want to say 15. I feel like that was the age where like I was kind of discovering everything. I think I was 15 that I was like, hey, this actually sounds like something I really want to get behind and actually follow, as opposed to just learning about kind of passively. I want to take active participation in kind of the learning of this and have my own proper thoughts towards it and stuff.
I like that way of putting it. Like going from passively sitting by and kind of taking it in to actually like committing to it.
Yeah, I suppose in a way you could kind of compare it to, when you're just learning things at school or something, and then, I mean, it's not hit me and it might not have hit many people, but at some point for some people when they're learning a subject at school, something switches and you're like, actually, I want to do this as like, I want this to be like a huge part of my life.
Yeah.
I don't know if you sat in chemistry learning about atoms and you suddenly go, I want to do this.
Yeah. Takes a certain kind of person.
Yeah.
But no, I know what you mean completely.
But yeah, no, I think I'm not sure if it was a split second decision, because we went to like a United event, which is, kind of a thing they do once per term, I want to say, where you go to like a big kind of, I don't know.
It's a barn.
Yeah, it's usually
they host it at all sorts of venues, wouldn't they?
Usually the barn, and they'd it would be churches from all across Leicester kind of congregating, and you sing songs that you're not used to singing, so you already feel a little bit uncomfortable because you're like, I don't know this one. That was me for like a good few years. Oh, the moment when you actually know all the songs that are being played at a United event, there is no greater feeling, let me tell you. I know every single one of these.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was one event and they did the whole, stand up, everyone close your eyes, and there's like mood lighting, and it was night time. They're like, stand up if you want to like dedicate your life to God, if you want to follow God. And in my head I was like, I was the meme, the just do it meme. I could hear Shia LaBeouf in my head. And I did it, I stood up, and the rest is, as they say, history.
They do say.
They do.
It's an amazing story. And so then what kind of changed in your life after that?
It was still pretty rocky after that. I think a lot of people maybe have the idea that, you dedicate your life to God and then everything's rosy afterwards, or everything's just kind of smooth sailing. It was not. There were choppy waters. There was a lot of things going on in my head, emotionally and mentally. Obviously, at the age of 15, it's kind of a pretty tender age for kind of learning things about yourself and about other people in the world, and kind of trying to engage a lot with the news and things that were happening. You kind of take that with you and try and think about it in terms of faith. So if not very nice topics, like pretty hefty topics, like things that were happening in America at the time or something, and the certain way that some people would use faith to promote hate instead of love can certainly have kind of an effect on how you view your faith, or a faith that you want to be a proper part of. And that can sometimes be a bit of a block in the road, because you think, well, is this what Christianity is supposed to stand for? So you have to do a lot of digging to kind of really think, well, faith looks different to everyone, and the basis of faith is supposed to be about love. So these people that are, doing things in the name of religion or something that aren't positive, it was kind of difficult at first to look past that, especially if it's all being shoved in your face all at once. Every time you're turning on the news, you're seeing these people that are like, we are of faith and we hate this, this group of people, and you think that's not good, especially if you belong to one of those groups of people. So for me, not being straight, it was a real block, like seeing all of this horrible stuff like on the internet and on the news, like, you can't belong to our community, you can't be a Christian if you're this or if you're this, and kind of like moving past that and saying actually no was, it took a long time for me.
Absolutely.
So but I think probably by the time I was maybe 16, 17, I'd probably come to terms with what Christianity really was for me, and what it stands for. And a big part of that was the people around me kind of showing me what Christianity really is. Because obviously you look at the news and stuff, and that's very far away from you. You have to look closer to home to really see what Christianity means to you. So things like the youth group, my friend Emily and her family were just so welcoming.
A great family.
Exactly.
Shout out the whole Greaves family.
Literally the whole Greaves family.
We want to, one by one, we want to get all of them on the podcast, to be honest.
Collect them all.
Yeah, collectors. We'll dot one in each season and play Spot the Greaves.
Oh, yes.
Make like a Where's Wally, but out of the Greaves family.
Brilliant.
That would be great, honestly. They've helped me with my journey so much. I hate that word sometimes. Journey.
I know what you mean. It's really hard to use it without sounding like without sounding like you're trying to romanticize it, but it really is that.
Or sound cringy and
kind of like yeah. But no, it's absolutely valid.
It's life so far, isn't it? It's like as much as it's a journey. It's not a film. It's your life.
And it's ongoing and stuff. But so then last year, I can't believe it's been a whole year since I got baptised. That was crazy, really crazy. That was a pretty just do it moment as well. One of our youth leaders was talking about, if you want to be baptised, there's a meeting that's going to take place. I didn't tell anyone about it. I just showed up, and then I think my friend Emily texted me, because she was, I can't remember if she asked me where I was, or if she found out or something. She was like, you didn't tell me you were planning on getting baptised. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm getting baptised. Just it's no big deal. But yeah, that was like a really big moment for me, and the little testimony that you do before you get dunked.
Before the dunking.
Before the dunking.
You get up in front of the whole church and you tell them a short version of what you're explaining now, basically, isn't it?
Yeah, and add in a few little gags and jokes here and there.
It's a bit stand-up.
It kind of felt like a bit of Christian stand-up. I'm not going to lie, I've got a Lion King quote in there.
But you I've told you this loads of times, but you got really good feedback from what you said. People thought
rave reviews,
not just from a kind of comedic, oh yeah, she was very funny, but on a deeper level, it really resonated with people what you said, which had a big part to play in us wanting you to come on here and talk about it with us.
I think there's really something to be said about kind of, obviously coming to faith and saying, hey, I want to be baptised is a pretty serious thing, and for a lot of people had really kind of emotional testimonies and everything. But I think there's something about kind of juxtaposing how serious and how, kind of big this thing was for me with kind of the little aside remarks and kind of funny little whatevers. Because, sometimes it can be a really tense moment if you're kind of pouring out if you're kind of bearing your soul.
Yeah.
Because that's what sometimes a testimony can be. Mm-hmm. If you think this is the moment where I tell people, why I'm here, sometimes it can be really kind of raw. And, as much as I wanted to do that, I also wanted to be like, hey, don't feel awkward. Here's a little Lion King reference.
No.
But yeah. So I've still got it saved to my phone, the whole testimony.
Oh, did somebody film it?
No, I've got it on my notes because I actually wrote it.
Oh, you wrote the notes? Oh, of course.
I wrote the testimony, and I'm really ashamed to say I wrote it like half an hour before.
Oh my word.
So people were like, oh, so well spoken. I was like, thank you, I wrote it 30 minutes ago.
Well, mine was, because I was also baptised on the same day, wasn't I? And I didn't plan on, half an hour before I was baptised, I wasn't even planning on saying anything. I wasn't going to give a testimony because I felt so nervous on the day. And then literally as I stepped up to go onto the stage, I kind of whispered into the Juliet, who was leading the service, I whispered into her ear I'm just going to say some words. And I could see her kind of tense up a little bit because she knew it was unscripted. Yeah, it was he's not planned it, he could say anything. And I did not speak eloquently at all.
And that's fine,
Yeah,
sometimes the soul isn't eloquent,
Mine certainly isn't.
Yeah. So I had 30 minutes to gather something together, and I structured it the way that my English Lit teacher told me to structure essays.
Nice.
Because English Lit was and kind of is a big part of my life.
Mm-hmm. Amen to that.
Yes, amen to critical analysis.
Yes, I love that critical analysis.
Oh, that sweet critical analysis. But so I did it kind of what was my what, how, and why. So when you do an introduction to an essay.
What?
Your what, when, who, how.
Oh man.
So it was kind of what the author did, how they did it, and why they did it. Kind of the socio-political aspect of it and stuff, which I kind of shoved in a little bit at the end. And one of the parents of my friends was like, oh yeah, it felt like at the end it almost felt kind of like a call to arms, political kind of because I threw in some bits about equality at the end, because I was I just feel like it needs that part right at the end was completely off script. I was I'm not going to get too heavy, but at the end my brain was you just got to do it.
Just got to do it. You got your stage, you got your microphone.
I've got literally the floor is yours.
Got your soapbox. Is that what it's called?
Yeah. Soapbox.
Yeah, soapbox. Yeah.
When you get a wee bit political.
Yeah,
I mean, it wasn't really political.
I think there is an art to telling a testimony in a certain context as well. In that, in a baptism, obviously you can sort of do what you want, but it's nice to be able to engage with all the people in there, especially at a baptism where you've got people's families who aren't Christian, and they hear that. Realistically, if you're at a baptism, those are the kind of people who it's going to touch them most. In some ways.
Yeah, definitely.
Whereas if you're just out and about, it's a lot easier to just tell it quite casually or very, very simply and not have to put a lot of effort into making Lion King references apparently.
When I heard that laugh after I said that line, I was like, yes.
It's nice to get a laugh.
I've got the crowd.
Yeah, I know what you mean though.
But yeah, I think there's the fact that obviously I didn't come from a Christian family, really. I mean, I have parents who, I'm not sure about my mum, but I know my dad believes in God, but he's not really interested in being a Christian or anything. So, you know, a lot of the baptisms and stuff, a lot of people kind of rededicating, or they've come from Christian families, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. That's lovely that they get to continue that. But for people that are in the audience that aren't Christians, who aren't sure, hearing, you know, someone who has come from a non-Christian background who maybe doesn't fit the quote-unquote mould of what you'd expect a Christian to be, and someone who's kind of dealt with mental health issues, who, you know, knows that, you know, maybe they don't fit. I'm not like other girls. I don't want to do that narrative. I hate that so much. You're just not like other people. But, you know, sometimes you feel a little bit other.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
Which is perfectly valid, because, I mean, I'm sure we all in some way feel that we are other when we interact with certain groups of people. And it can be a real kind of, oh, you know, that's really nice that you've managed to come to faith, but, you know, someone in the audience can think, but I can never do that because I've got this problem and this problem. But actually knowing that someone has been through multiple issues and, you know, identity issues and stuff, and gone, actually, they can do it, so can I. If it's what I want, then I can do it. If you believe, you can achieve.
No, it's good. You've got such a great testimony. Like we've said, I feel like we can't keep just saying you've got a great testimony, because you've said it for yourself now. People have heard it. You know, it is a great story, and it is encouraging.
I think a really big part of Christianity and coming to faith as well is not just kind of, you know, the talky stuff and the learning stuff and whatever, but it's, you know, I talked about kind of bearing your soul and stuff, and a lot of that can be done through like singing and music and stuff that they have in the church. And that was like a huge part of it as well, being able to go down a Friday or a Sunday or whatever and just, you know, bang out some of that vocal.
Bang out some of that sweet vocal. Yeah. But yeah, so on that, the music is obviously a big part of faith. Obviously, we write Christian songs and Christian.
Do
we do? Oh, we try. We try sometimes. Music is a big thing because it's not just on a surface level. It's engaging when you hear a tune. You're like, oh yeah, okay, but it really resonates with. Oh, it sounds so pretentious, but resonates with the soul. Like, you know what I mean? Like it can bring you so much closer to something on an emotional level. And I think a lot of people really feel that in regards to faith and Christianity. Like, when we go into church, there's a worship band who lead us in worship, and you got these songs where we're singing to God and for God and stuff, and so that's a big part of it. And so I understand that for you, music is a huge thing, is it not?
Yeah,
in both the Christian arena and the kind of secular in the secular realm. So what is it? This is one of those horrible vague questions that I just throw at you and you do best.
Really like,
but what is
philosophical?
It's not going to be deep. No, it's just going to be vague. But what is it about music really that engages you?
I think it's wow.
The music,
the tunes.
I like the pinky plunky. We have a xylophone on set with us.
That really resonated with my soul.
Do you know that could have been if you're listening on headphones? I apologise.
That was quite nice.
That was quite nice. We've got a xylophone on us because John and I were recording something earlier. Don't let me forget.
Don't say me as well. You have a crocodile xylophone in your house that you decided to
Nobody
use.
needs to know it's not a professional level xylophone.
It's a crocodile xylophone.
It's from Fisher-Price.
I'll tell you what.
6 notes on it.
The promotion for this podcast will just be a picture of this xylophone.
That's more than fair enough.
Okay.
It's the start of the show.
With Shauna Strathmann, it's a crocodile.
You could make the title something like a play on Snappy or something, I don't know.
Can I crop your head onto the head of the crocodile?
Oh, please do not.
Oh, definitely got some promo material out of that.
Oh, man.
But it's also sat like right under the... Like it physically couldn't be closer to the mic if we tried, so we're sorry if it's a bit piercing, but it's just there.
It is just there.
What were we actually saying?
Music.
Yeah, plinky plonky, yeah. So what is it about music? Go.
Wow. Oof.
Woof.
This is such a like. I can't. Hang on. I need to range my thoughts.
It's hard, isn't it?
Yeah, can you like
I've asked a
give
stupid
me
question
3
to
hours
this.
and a laptop so I can type up like an essay on what it
You
means to
spent
me?
half an hour writing your testimony for your baptism.
Yeah, I know,
That's
but
true.
that was like 2 minutes. Oh, okay, there's a lot of
To
pressure.
be fair, that was half an hour. You've just
Yeah,
given
we've
it
not even given
to
it
her.
There's something about music.
That's what we're talking about. Yes.
There is something about music.
Full stop.
Roll
Let's move on.
credits.
I reckon it resonates with the soul quite well.
Yeah.
Do you
yeah.
reckon?
There's probably also that soul resonation. There's that as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I can just rephrase it or just add a bit of like subtext, like in parentheses underneath. Like, so the question was like, you know, how does music like what?
The hand movements don't work on a
On the
podcast.
bracket. Oh
really,
yeah,
do
I'm
they?
still gesturing and stuff. But also, so like, what? Can you, like any examples of like music or kind of like what like you like music on a deeper level, like the concepts and things in music that really help you to engage with it and stuff. So
Concepts and stuff is like I think a really cool aspect of music and albums as a whole that I think is really underrated. There's something about, I don't know, I don't want to be like, I don't like top 40 music. I mean, I don't, but like, I'm not
Yeah.
saying that it's bad if you do.
I think that's the third time that you've gone, I don't want to say this, but I also do.
I don't want people to misunderstand and misinterpret.
No, I
Come across as something that I'm not. But yeah, there's a lot of albums that kind of get released and there's nothing really to them. It's just, here's some things that I threw together.
Yeah.
I'm just going to put them all on one album. But I think it's really underrated when an artist, a group, or whatever they have a vision.
Yeah.
Whether it be like a cohesive kind of genre or they're going for kind of something that reflects, I don't know, like philosophy or something. Like, I'm going to like poison your podcast by talking about K-pop.
No, it's a K-pop friendly zone if it has to
wow.
be. If it has to be.
How inclusive.
We'll have to put a label on saying
trigger
warning. Warning, maybe mild reference to K-pop.
But yeah, there's an album by a group called BTS called Map of the Soul, and it's about I don't know if you've heard of Carl Jung, who does like the Map of the Soul theory and talks about the ego and the shadow and the persona and stuff like that. And you know, they've kind of made that into a album, and they've kind of done a reflection of their songs. So Persona was about kind of the persona you put on, and they've done things in the past about talking about like loving yourself and the different stages of loving yourself. So the loving yourself where you actually focus on loving another person, and then the realization that that love cannot be real until you accept yourself for who you are, and then the eventual self-acceptance, and you know, going through that in different parts and stuff. And Taylor Swift's recent album conceptually is, you know, really different from
Much more than she's normally.
much more, because you know, whereas on her other albums maybe you might say there's a couple of standout tracks that maybe don't quite fit in. A lot of people have that with, I mean, I don't know loads and loads about Taylor Swift. I'm not going to pretend to know everything.
If you did, we wouldn't have invited you on.
Wow.
No, I
Careful.
I quite like Taylor Swift now.
But yeah, same. Her Red album had a couple of songs on there that were a little bit. Some fans, I believe, you know, felt that a couple of the songs felt a little bit out of place, and it was kind of like, oh, we need a pop song on there or something.
Yeah.
But her recent album, Folklore, feels Falklands. That's not what it's called.
It's not called Falklands. Don't go and buy Taylor Swift Falklands.
That would sound very different.
Yeah, no, sorry, it's called Folklore, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Right.
And it's kind of, I mean, they've kind of put it under the alternative genre, which I feel like is just kind of an umbrella term at this point.
Yeah, it is.
It's pushing the boundaries of what's alternative.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Because,
it is.
you know, I mean, there's an album that I was listening to recently by a group called Nothing But Thieves. Their self-titled album, which is really good, by the way,
Really
listen
good.
to it. Trip Switch is probably...
Trip Switch got me into
Oh,
it.
same.
So good. It was used on a FIFA soundtrack, that's why.
Oh, I
heard
was
it
used on like a fan edit of a video game or something
Really?
like that.
Oh wow.
Which is
Great song.
embarrassing,
Great
but
song.
really, really great song. But they're put under the genre of alternative as well.
Yeah.
And if you listen to Folklore and you listen to that album,
Can you imagine? Two
not
more
the
different
same.
albums.
Yeah.
Literally.
One of them has drums, the other one doesn't.
That's about as far different as you
bit
get,
of
isn't it?
percussion,
There's a
but
bit
I mean,
of mild percussion.
I would say
Yeah.
that her album is probably closer to kind of indie or folk.
I think, yeah.
Theirs is
I
more
agree,
kind
I
of
agree.
rock-ish.
Theirs is rock. Theirs reminds me very much of, and I've seen people say it before. Nothing But Thieves are kind of the love child of like Arctic Monkeys and Muse put together.
I would agree
They're
with
very
that.
much like that. But yeah, it's the concepts and things in music are very much overlooked. Especially when I was having this conversation with somebody today, is that generations are getting inherently lazier in terms of the kind of media that we want to take in. So nowadays, the way that a sitcom is written is very different to how it used to be written. It's written for cheap laughs and it's written to be binged, so they don't put so much effort into every episode's script.
There's only a few real jokes in
That's
like
it.
an
You have a
episode
couple
or
of big jokes. You
something.
might have one big punchline at the end of an episode, like leading
Yeah.
up to this one thing, but you won't have. If you think about older sitcoms, I'm not even going that far back. Early noughties, things like
I would say The Office, really.
yeah, things like The Office, Arrested Development. I don't know if I told.
I
I've
did
told
watch
you
a
both
little
that.
bit of it, yeah.
You know, that's very witty and full of also, but we don't really have. It's not done the same, and it's exactly the same with music. It's made for a shorter attention span, so it's made just to be
Definitely.
really simple, really easy to consume.
And there's a lot of kind of just, oh, you know, well, I've come up with a song, but it doesn't fit the concept of the album, and I'm just going to shove it on anyway.
Yeah, just put it on.
It's a thing of not wanting to offend any people by making it too different.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
just making
definitely.
a generic sound. So there's a guy called Jacob Collier, and he
I
basically
remember,
has reinvented harmonies. So he
Yeah.
harmonises every part of the original like
Wow.
vocal,
Yeah.
and it's like it's amazing, but
heard
it's
it.
so off of what we're used to.
It's like you're not
never
going to hear it on the
don't like
radio.
it.
He'd never make it mainstream. That's the thing. And I've heard him before. He's insane. He's one of those. There's a few of those kind of people who've made it on YouTube, but they'll never make it outside of that because
Yeah.
people haven't got the attention span or the kind of capacity to learn
Definitely.
new ways of music like that nowadays.
But I think it's really like that. So you know what Taylor Swift's done with her recent album is kind of, you know, it's veering off the tracks.
Yeah.
You know, if you look at kind of 1989, which was like a pretty, you know, that was a pop album that was very commercially like kind of fitting in with what the radio would like, and there's nothing wrong with that because I think it's
No.
actually a really well written album.
Yeah.
But this is kind of, you know, it's not about, oh, if I write this, are people going to put it on the radio?
Yeah.
Is it going to be a top 40 hit?
Yeah.
More about kind of what do I want to get across to the people who will listen to me, who I know will always listen to me. And yeah, I think there's just, I don't know, I don't think that we get enough of that anymore. We really don't. And it's
Yeah.
kind of sad.
It's rare that you get like an artist that just goes out on a limb and does whatever they want. I mean, another good example actually was Alex Turner of Arctic Monkeys with their seventh studio album. I don't know what it was. Their most recent album. They just went so far from like nobody would have imagined that it sounded like that. It just went so weird. And the only time you see it in music now, really, where a big artist will do that is if they are so big that they don't care anymore because they're fans. They know they've got their hardcore fans that love them, and they know that those fans won't leave them no matter what they do. And I love that. I love the fact that they will then go out on a limb and do anything. And I'll listen to anything that Alex Turner does. I won't be false if it's not that good. I won't big it up like it's as good as their other stuff. But
Or if you just don't enjoy it.
But I really respect the risk that they take, and the kind of lack of kind of caring about conforming to the charts and to
Definitely.
all this stuff.
But just the idea of like if you're a fan of someone, really you shouldn't just be a fan of their music, but you should be kind of a fan of what they're capable of their potential almost. So, you know, if a group that you like or an artist that you like releases something that isn't commercially successful or something, you know, it's not necessarily a bad song. But understanding, you know, that maybe that's come from their soul, you know, almost. But yeah, I was just gonna say, like, not to pop in with the K-pop again, pop in with the K-pop. But a lot of people with their most recent album, with BTS's most recent album, there was a lot of kind of like, oh, you know, it's just an amalgamation of all the genres you could possibly need, like in one big album. For some people that was great, for some people it wasn't. But you know, they go into topics such as kind of what happens when you don't feel anything for music anymore, and kind of there's a song on there called Black Swan, which is kind of, you know, a reference to Swan Lake and a reference to the film Black Swan, and it delves into the psyche of an artist who is at a point in their life where, you know, the music isn't resonating with them anymore, it isn't doing anything for them. They've become disenfranchised with something that has been such a big part of their life, has been their entire life. And what do you do with yourself when you lose that passion for music? Do you keep going and hope that you get it back? Or do you just do you let it go and pursue something else?
Were they writing that from their own experience?
Yes.
Actually? Oh, wow.
Yeah, so at the time of writing it, they were really, really worried about, I think, so a lot of the time, you know, one or two members will write the song and then all of them will sing on it. It's very rare that all 7 of them will write the song.
Yeah. A nightmare. Imagine
Man.
conflict of interest.
Literally, the song would be going everywhere.
Hate that.
But that's why they do solo songs on the album as well, so that they get to show their own kind of vocal colour and their own concepts and stuff.
Yeah.
But that song, it kind of reminds me of what a lot of artists, you can sometimes see them going through. Some of the really, really big artists kind of reaching a point where they maybe release albums and you're like, this doesn't feel like it has any substance anymore. You know, have you lost your passion for music? And what you do with yourself when you've lost the passion for the thing that you love the most in the world. Yeah. So, not to get too heavy or anything.
No, I think there's a bigger pressure on artists now to put more philosophy or more of their own thoughts into an album. In that, like, in the 70s, 80s, you could have just an album based on a thing. Like space was a huge thing, like Pink Floyd, David Bowie. It wasn't necessarily that they were writing, like, obviously there was some personal stuff in the songs, but now it's very much like you have to get as much like philosophical or like any sort of thoughts that you can into this album, and it can't just be music for the sake of doing it.
Yeah.
And there's so many like artists that are trying to like create this really warped like thought process in a song just because they think they need to get that into the song rather than just writing it.
I think maybe people just hold too many artists to a certain expectation, and that's really kind of ruining what music's really about, because every artist is going to be different in the way that they make music, from someone who, you know, makes dubstep to someone who does kind of
level
and that's not to say like remove all like all your thoughts and all your feelings from the song and create like something that's just
meaningless.
Yeah.
On the most basic level, leave artists alone. Let them make what they want, man. Seriously.
Yeah, this sounds like we're just defending ourselves as songwriters, but we've never really come against these problems. But it really is a thing. Like people just lay into artists for doing all this stuff, and it's like just they're creating what they want to create, or they're not because they're getting pressured into creating something they don't want to create. But speaking of us as artists, let's chuck in a reference to that thing that we've got coming out. Friday the 31st of July, we are uploading, or we have uploaded, a new song that John and I wrote. It was actually the first song that we ever wrote when we got together as this little band that we're doing. And but
we're a big band. What do you mean?
We definitely weren't when we wrote this song though. We were sat in my living room when we wrote it. Do you remember that?
Really?
Yeah, we were actually in my living. It was the first time we ever decided to write a Christian song together. We came out with this song. It's called Your Plan. Shauna, you've not actually heard it, have you?
Oh wow, no, I haven't.
No. I mean, nobody's heard any of our songs except for Turn to See.
Yeah.
But this is a song we wrote, but the version that we're putting out is a cover by some of our friends. So they have covered a song we've written. So the song on YouTube is our song, but it's our friends covering it, and it's a friend, a girl called Kirsten, who's got a beautiful voice. Like she makes it sound much better than I do. And then a friend of ours, Ollie, who's playing the guitar, and it's a really nice kind of little gentle plucky guitar bit. He plays he plays it just how John did. So it sounds great. It sounds exactly how John intended it to sound. So if you've not listened to that, go and check it out. If you have listened to it, go and check it out again. Rack up the views because that really helps us out. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel as well, do subscribe because that would help us out a lot. One day we dream of having Lots and lots of subscribers. I'm not going to put a number on it because that adds pressure. But we would love to have more subscribers. It would really help us. And we're looking to bring out lots of new content on our YouTube. You know, we're looking to do some fun stuff. Yeah, we are. Yeah. So anything you want to see us do, Shauna, let us know. If there's anything you want to see us do, just give us a quick DM. Anyone out there, drop us a quick DM.
Slide into those DMs.
Yeah, slide into our DMs. The Stillmore account DMs, not our personal DMs. Don't slide into those. But our Instagram is stillmore.theband. Yes, all lowercase at stillmore.theband. Our Facebook is Stillmore. Our YouTube, you're probably listening to this on YouTube, is Stillmore. Our Spotify is Stillmore. Our Apple Music is Stillmore. Our
Amazon Music is still
more.
Our Deezer is still more. Our Google Play is still more.
Our LinkedIn is still more.
Our LinkedIn, please give us a job. Basically, like most people do, we go by our name. So just look up Stillmore if you need to find us on anything. I feel like we're winding down very nicely now. We've covered good ground. I say that in every episode.
Yeah,
I always say it.
Covered good ground.
Every time we get to this point in the episode, I'm like...
I feel like we're winding down now, guys. We've covered some good ground.
But do you know what? There's a physical feeling that my body goes through when I say those words. It's like a real relaxed... Do you know when you get in a hot bath and you're just like... Oh.
I hate hot baths.
Don't have time for a bath.
Here's my opinion of the week. I hate hot baths.
Oh no, she didn't. She hit us with a controversial opinion of the week.
I robbed you of your...
No, she's stolen our slot. Well, you know what that means. We can't say one. It's against the rules. We've got to discuss hers. No, we've got to discuss hers.
You can just delete me saying it and it's like it never even happened.
Nope, you've hijacked it.
Oh.
So, you don't like baths or you don't like hot baths?
I don't like baths. They're just... Sorry, I don't like baths.
Thank you. Baths.
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 With an F.
Baths. Baths. Oh man, showers.
Showers.
Do you like showers?
What?
I would hope so, otherwise how do you wash?
How am I washing?
There's an open lake behind her house.
Oh man, well...
Stick myself in the washing machine.
What? Why don't you like baths? They're so relaxing.
Because they're just... it's too much, man. And the steam, like, I get, like, really... I can't breathe.
I feel like when I'm in a bath, my face gets really sweaty. And I don't want to have to dunk my head under the water every time I want to not feel sweaty.
Also, there's the dilemma of washing your hair when you're in the bath. When do you do it? Immediately, or do you do it after you've washed everything else?
See,
but then you've kind of got dirty... You're just sitting in your own dirty water. It's kind of... It's cringe.
I understand and respect both of the points that both of you are making. However, I must disagree. I'm very much a bath kind of guy, and some people are like, oh, he's a bath guy, you know, because bath guys are often like sensitive guys, which is fine.
That's not a thing.
People always say that. It's like if you're a cat guy, people are like, oh, he knows how to express himself.
I thought that was if you're a dog guy. I don't know.
No, it's one of those things. People, it kind of shows falsely accepted, but people think it shows that you're really in touch with your emotion, which is absolutely a good.
Well, you can cry better in the shower because no one can hear you.
Come on, but I mean, so I'm a bath guy. I love to sit in the bath, and I don't sit in it for hours. I used to. I maybe like a 10-minute bath. I don't really go pruny. I don't know what it is about my skin. I don't go wrinkly. Unless I'm in the bath for like an hour, my skin just doesn't go wrinkly. I actually enjoy running the bath more than getting in it.
That's the most stressful part.
That sounds like you would enjoy running water, as in a shower.
No, because it's not just...
Perhaps.
No. Oh, I also have this thing that I might as well admit at this point. I cannot be in the bath unless the water's running. So I can't...
Oh, I understand. I do understand that when I used to have
most people would go upstairs, turn on the bath to run, and then come back 10 minutes later when it's run, turn the tap off, get in.
You can't gauge it properly either.
Yeah.
When it's already ran, because you think, oh, this is optimal, but you get in and then suddenly it's spilling over the sides.
Yeah, exactly. So it has to be running. It's something to do with the noise as well. I like to sing in the bath a lot, and the noise kind of masks that. Okay, it sounds like
it literally just sounds like you want to shower. It really does.
Oh, but maybe.
How about compromise? Okay, I've done this before. To be fair, you put the plug in, but you run a shower.
Ooh,
That way it fills up, so you get the kind of like bath
there's still,
experience.
there's
This
still
is
water.
cool, kind of like I'm standing in a pond,
Yeah.
except there's no frogs. Actually, there are sometimes. But yeah, anyway, so no, there aren't. We don't have a frog problem in our bath.
That's good. Thanks for clearing that up.
Yeah, I thought I'd better clarify that. But no, I disagree. But there's your opinion of the week.
I feel so bad. Can't we have
Sweet,
2 opinions of the week?
No.
Maybe
I forgot mine.
We've just hit the hour mark, which is a lovely place to round up, or it's a nice place to go into like the deluxe moment of the podcast where we actually do an outro, but then carry on with another opinion. Have you got an opinion?
I've forgotten it.
Oh well, we'll just wrap up. So we've reached the end of the road. Wait, I said that last time, didn't I?
I don't know.
Yeah, because then I said something about how it sounded like death. Like we've reached
Yeah, I
the
was
end
just
of
going
the
to say
road.
it sounds
Alright.
like death.
Flipping
But
it.
I've got a feeling that we're winding down now. We've covered
think-
some good ground.
Do you reckon?
So-
Do you reckon that we've covered some good ground? Because I think.
I think the ground is well and truly completely soaked in a blanket. It's covered up. It's nice and warm, tucked in.
I think the turf
can-
that we've gone over is really great.
Yeah.
Guys, literally next week, this podcast is going to be, hi, I'm Shauna and this is John. And there's going to be no Elliot anymore. I would have left. I would have actually just quit. Flipping out, getting rinsed here like you get in a bath. Anyway.
No, you don't.
You don't know.
Ironically, that's a shower.
Maybe I just don't know the difference. Wait, the bath is the one where you stand up, right? Under the head. You know, you get a bath head. A bath head that sprinkles on you, right?
Anyway.
The hilarity.
Anyway, it's about time to end the show.
It's about time to... Should we play another jingle? Pull the xylophone on the floor, you nuisance.
Oh, man.
Anyway, we will post a picture of the xylophone for you to see with our special guest Shauna. And
Hopefully not photoshopped on. Please don't do that to me.
but let's wrap up here before we just keep saying absolute calamities. So
Who's we?
You speak French now?
Oh my goodness. So, what is the thing I normally say at the end? Oh yeah, it's my name. So, I've been Elliot. Guys, you're laughing. Guys, I need you to take this seriously. I can't perform under pressure. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, I'm going to say it to this mic. Right. I've been Elliot and he's been John.
I've been John and he's been Elliot.
And thank you for listening to The Still. Bye! More show! Flipping it, you ruined everything!
Oh, we can't use that. Oh, we can't use that at all.
What is that? Oh man, wait, was that you when you leant into the mic?
Can you just sit here and do the outro?
You want me to just say it?
But that one was so good.
Yeah, it was so good. You gotta leave that in. Right, okay. Right, here's our real outro. Right, I've been Elliot and he's been John.
I've been John and he's been Elliot.
And thank you for listening to The
Still
More
Show.
That was so smooth.